Hello, everybody. Hello, Lori. How are you? I'm glad to know that you're doing very well. And of course, hello, Lashes. Thank you for your continued support. I know last night and the night before you had your shifts at work. So I know you're probably very tired and exhausted, but I'm so grateful that you're still able to think of me and play my video in the background. But have a good night's sleep. I know it's late, so sleep well and don't let the bed bugs bite. You can definitely catch me on the replay. So tonight is topic is on privacy and the arts. Now, it's not an accident that I picked this particular topic. Um, some of you might know and have heard of the channel Mr. Real Estate. Um, so, a recent event that occurred for him kind of inspired me to talk about this topic and to start with privacy in the arts and then sort of slowly build as I'm going through my other videos later on this week to the quote unquote crescendo, which is really talking about privacy and, our expectations of privacy on the internet, and is it something that we can really realistically expect, or is it just a facade or wishful thinking, or a fictionalized dream that we have? But I'm not really going to go. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, much appreciated. So I'm not going to go into obviously in depth, details as to what happened with Mr. Real Estate, but just to touch on the topic very, very briefly, just to give you guys a little bit of context as to, why I'm talking about privacy and the arts. It was revealed that he, was accused of a crime, and even though in the U.S. Criminal accusations are public record, it wasn't something that it wasn't common knowledge, right? It was something that you have to actually go and look for and really know where to look, right? Here in Canada, criminal records, you kind of have to ask for it, but when you ask for it, you have to have a justifiable reason for it, right? So I can't just go, oh, I think Lori might have been arrested. Let me go see it. Like, no, I have to be able to say, well, Lori is applying to be a teacher, so I need to do a background check to make sure she has no criminal record, right? So I would have to have a justifiable reason to go into her potential criminal record, right? So this isn't something that's just handed to anybody and everybody. And yes, I mean, if you're a major figure and you've been accused of a crime, it is something that will get reported on. And oh yeah, this person, but oftentimes if you're arrested for marijuana, the news vans aren't like running up to you and interrogating you and wondering what's going on and how come, like most of the time, most of us, if we're arrested for a minor thing or not, a big name, chances are nobody's going to know that we have a criminal record, right? Or that you've been accused of a crime. But like I said, somebody, because he has beef with a couple people, somebody went ahead and found out that, oh, Mr. Real Estate has been accused and went ahead and spread that to everybody. So that got me thinking about, the different elements of privacy and, what if there's something in your life that you want to keep hidden? Or, maybe some of us, even though, I mean, content creators aren't really artists in the traditional sense of the word. Uh, I mean, we are to some degree artists in the sense that we're creating videos where, some of us can be very artistic about it. And consequently, because we're on the internet, we're putting ourselves out there on YouTube. Um, are we giving up our privacy, right? Are we now, is the public allowed to do anything and everything with our private information? Are we Do we forfeit our private life, right? So it got me, that whole situation got me thinking about, well, what if this was me? What if this was, a friend of mine that had their lives revealed on the internet because, oh well, they said something about somebody, and the person here didn't like it, right? So again, I'm not going to go into in-depth detail with the whole Mr. Real Estate situation. I'm just going to go, from the basic, general, okay, privacy in the arts, and then as I get closer to the live where I really want to talk about it, I'll go more and more in depth with it, right? So here tonight, I'm just talking about privacy in general and how it's presented in some of the work for certain artists, right? So there's many different angles to look at privacy, right? And the contrary is, of course, how public you can be. Yeah, you're definitely right, Lori. The more famous you are, the less likely you are to have a private life. Of course, some of the big examples are somebody like Kanye West, for example, who has paparazzi outside his door 24/7, and literally he could be taking out his garbage at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like have like 5, 10, 20 paparazzi on him. I just need to take a little bit of a break. I know I just started, but please humor me. I normally don't like doing this, but I do need to do something very important. I need a minute, guys, so just be patient. I'm going to play a little bit of music. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for your patience. I'm back, so I figured, okay, let me continue with the music, but not so loud. But thank you, Lori, and everybody else for your patience in this matter. So I'm back. All right. So basically, as I was saying, we're gonna go into how some artists present privacy and the public eye and what's considered public, what's considered private, etc. Right? So we're gonna start with the whole idea of the fake leads, right? Now, why am I going to start with that? Okay. At one point, um, of course, uh, statues of men and women were made showing full form, right? So you saw the men parts, you saw the women parts, right? I don't think, I'm saying men parts and women's parts, not because I don't know what they're called or that I'm shy talking about these things, but because we all know how YouTube is with certain words. So I'm just being more mindful and more careful in the lines here, folks. I don't want to I think we all know what I'm talking about here. And for most people, for the most part, didn't really have an issue with seeing the male form in the nude or the female form in the nude. However, the Vatican at one point did feel that this was inappropriate, particularly the Vatican, okay, having a lot of ancient Greek statues in particular, but not exclusively, where, of course, the male form in particular, but the female form as well, would be shown in all of its glory, right? And the Vatican at one point was like, do we really want this kind of stuff to be out here showing and distracting the people that are coming to the Vatican um, to worship God, to pray, uh, to on their pilgrimages, and then they go to these museums, or they walk around and they see these statues of these naked men and women all around, right? So what did they do? Well, they put fig leaves to hide the genitalia of men and women, right? So I'm going to quickly show you here one example of what they would do, right? So let me just share my screen here. So this is, of course, the Wikipedia page of the fig leaf. So they would put this fig leaf to cover, obviously, the the male form. And this one in particular is, as you can see, on the statue of David, of course, a very famous statue. But they would do this for a lot of paintings and sculptures, and anything that would show the male form. So as you can see, this one as well. And of course, it went to this point as well here, and in the painting as well, right? And I say this because, again, it's what should be, and that's, kind of the point here is, what should be shown, what should be publicly available versus what should be considered as private, right? Is your body something that should be shown? Now, I'm not making, personal judgments here. I'm not telling you guys that there's a right answer or a wrong answer to this, at least not in tonight's episode, okay? I will give more on my personal opinion on the matter on a later stream. Right now, I consider myself more like Switzerland, where I'm trying to be more neutral and just present you guys the ideas and the concepts, and then later on, more, of my personal feelings and opinions on the matter, and give more detailed of what I think on it, right? So, and this is just one aspect of privacy versus public, right? Is how much are you willing to show to the world, right? Are you willing to go outside fully naked? You know what I mean? Now, obviously, this is an extreme example here, right? Because at some point, somebody had to pose for those statues, right? And whether David is a representative of an actual Greek person, or the artist just, oh, that I like the butt of that person, so I'll use that. I like the biceps of that person, so I'll use that. I like the legs of this person, but who knows? But at the end of the day, somebody somewhere had to, basically expose themselves and be forever immortalized as David, right? And really have his body be shown to the world, right? And everybody knows this David statue, or if you were to look it up because you don't know what that is, you would find out about it very quickly, right? Now, in this case, you have here a major contrast where, of course, the ancient Greeks, for them, they looked at statues like David as, hello, hello, intellectual soapbox, so glad to see you here. Uh, Yeah, I realize that you guys are still live and everything, but hey, we all gotta go live. We all gotta do our shows at some point. But thank you for stopping by and saying hi. Say hi to say hi to everybody on the live for me. Thanks. But yeah, so it really in the statue like that where you have the Greek that contrast that they use that statue as an example of uh, the male form and how beautiful and the um, idealized male form. So, in order to show that idealized male form, of course, they had to really, show every single detail, including, like I said, the genitalia. So, for them, they felt that it was okay to have this very, most of us, when you ask, if I were to ask, the intellectual soapbox or Lori, hey, why don't we all, walk down the street completely naked? Most of us would be like, yeah, no. I think all three of us would be like, no, no, no. I at least want to put some some clothes on, right? It wouldn't be like, okay, you might go, maybe walk around in a bikini, maybe, or boxers or something, maybe. But even then, most of us would probably not like to walk around completely naked. Yet, for this statue, the person was basically naked, right? We're showing a naked form. So for the Greek, the ancient Greeks, to some degree, if it's done to show the beauty and the standards that they have, a certain amount of public, like, okay, this is the ideal male form, is absolutely fine, right? And then, of course, the contrast with that is, of course, X amount of years later, of course, the Vatican comes around and says, no, 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 the human body is definitely not something that needs to be in the public format and visualized by anybody and everybody. We need to have a certain amount of quote unquote decency and hide at least a certain minimum amount of body parts, right? There are certain things that should not be in the public eye. So this is one element of privacy and what it means in the arts. Now, of course, another element of the arts, and privacy is information, right? So you have another, and this is something that I found very interesting. So I'll show you guys um, the clip. Yeah, thank you, intellectual soapbox. Yes, everybody, if you can hit the like button, I'm gonna hit the like button for my own video because if I don't like my own video, I can't expect anybody else to do so as well. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick little video of what I'm talking about, so that way you guys can understand a little bit better as to where I'm coming from on this particular element. So that was Zoom Pavilion. Okay, let me just put the music back on. Okay, and that is to show that in for certain governments, following you as a person is absolutely normal and absolutely acceptable, right? We all have heard, of course, of excuse me, uh, Mr. Snowden, and the fact that he's revealed that our emails are being followed, our cell phone calls are being followed, right? That the CIA and a lot of different government agencies are basically listening in to us, right? And not just government agencies are doing this, but of course, private corporations are gathering our personal data and selling it to other people for them to be able to, sell their products to us in a better way. Um, so that's another element of privacy, right? And that's kind of what I was talking about before with the whole Mr. Real Estate situation, right? Your, information about you, how people get that information and how they're sharing it with other people, right? So in this particular art exhibit that, I did participate in when it was at the Mac Museum, it really got to that point of you being followed around and being captured and your image being saved on in this case it was saved on a camera SD card temporarily, but still, it's still that idea of you being tracked and how is that information being used. Now, here in Canada and the U.S., more often than not, that information is simply being used to sell to corporations to say, oh well, she stole my thunder seems to spend a lot of money on on shoes. So, Adidas, hey, maybe you should target Carola, she stole my thunder, sorry, for her, for shoes and stuff like that, right? Um, so they're using it for that. But if you're talking about a corporate, a country that's much more of a dictatorship, how much of that information could be used to snitch on each other and say, well, oh, this person, they're pro that government policy or they're against this government policy. Maybe we should throw them in jail or whatever, right? So all this information that's being tracked about you could easily be used to have you arrested in certain governments, right? Is this something that we would find acceptable, right? Here in Canada and the United States, of course, we would not find it acceptable. But in other countries, they do this often, not only to save themselves, but to maybe keep the government that they want in power, right? So in this particular exhibit, the artists really were against or showing the dangers of you being tracked and how you being constantly under surveillance could potentially be used against you, right? A lot of, I think I've heard a couple of cases where people have gone on Google Maps and solved crimes because, hey, wait a minute, I was curious. I, looked in this lake and, hey, I saw this and, hey, this looks like a car. And lo and behold, they pull the car out and, oh, there's these two deceased bodies in it. It turns out, well, these are the bodies of two people that went missing X amount of time ago, right? So that's the good side, quote unquote, of having you being surveilled constantly, right? People can track down and see that, oh, well, I see this weird shape in the lake and that looks like a car. And lo and behold, they solve a cold case that's been, open cold case for several years. You're watching everything. Yeah, we're being watched. Now, of course, some of you guys might know the movie The Circle, which starred Tom Hanks and Emma Watson, who's of course, Harry Potter fame. And there's, of course, The Handmaid's Tales as well, that really play into that idea of being constantly surveilled, right? In The Circle, which I admit I watched it, but I did not find it very. I was very confused by this movie. I have to admit, and seeing the reviews, I don't think I'm the only one that's been confused about that movie. But in that movie, one of the themes is, of course, privacy versus public, right? And in a couple of, for a couple of the characters, they were adamant that no, we want to keep our private life private because one of the circle is this tech company that wants to use its hardware and its software to monitor people and to share what those people are going through to the public at large, right? So sort of like what Facebook is doing and what our Instagram is doing, right? Allowing us to share our entire lives with people, right? Showing, hey, I'm at this national park. I'm going over here for a drink, or Lori and I are having a coffee together after work, or whatever the case might be, right? Um, so how much information are you willingly putting up, and out there? Because you do see one of the characters in the movie, he uses the carcasses of, you know, dead animals to make chandeliers out of that. Now, because Emma Watson's character exposes that and says, "Oh, look at the great artwork that my friend did." She just did it to, give him some support and, hey, go ahead and share some love. And most of us are like that, right? Lori shared my video earlier, and hey, great, fantastic, right? She did it out of because hey, I want to support. She stole my thunder. It's great content, whatever. Okay, great, fantastic. But for the character in the movie, what happened is, of course, the movie's PETA, they went after him and were like, "Oh my God, you're killing animals, and how dare you!" And it completely destroyed his life. He was literally, because he was being tracked by the same technology that Emma Watson's character uh, was developing, and he was being hounded by the PETA organization to the point where, as he was trying to escape them, he ended up in a car accident that took his life. Right. So it was, crazy. So basically, because he's trying to, he's just trying to live his life and just do his day to day, and he's not out there. Hello, hello, Cubans Universal. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the club. He was just out there trying to do his thing. He was just, like I said, he wasn't actually hunting these animals. These were carcasses that he was finding, and was just making it useful. Quite, basically what waste not, want not philosophy, right? Um, but for other people, they were using this information against him and to demonize him and to make it seem like he was doing all these horrible things when he really wasn't. So of course, Emma Watson's character does feel guilty and does wonder, okay, what do I do? Where do I go with this, right? But at the end of the movie, she also uses that same technology and software to expose her two bosses, who essentially were hypocrites, because the two bosses, the two head honchos, were like, "Yeah, let's make everything public, and everybody should know everything about everybody, and have access to all the information." Yet they were hiding some of the shady business deals that they were doing. One in particular was really not revealing a lot of the things. Thank you, Cleveland. Thank you. Big up to you, brother. Big up to you. Bless you, brother. Bless you. So yeah, so one of the characters, he was definitely hiding a lot of the shady business deals and some of the not so great or not so fantastic things that he was up to or thought of. I'm talking about the Circle, Cuban. The Circle. It stars Tom Hanks and Emma Watson. For a moment, I was forgetting. But yeah, so at the end of the movie, she uses that technology to expose these two individuals. The Tom Hanks character, of course, is not happy about it, but he goes along with it because he's like, you know what? At the end of the day, you're right. If I'm going to have my employees and random people in general do this and socialize, while the other individual is like, oh shit, I'm in trouble now, because he was basically, I think he was bribing people in politics and things like that. Basically, I can't remember all of it, but I know he was basically doing a lot of shady deals. So in this case, privacy was used to hide things that shouldn't have been hidden, right? And the CEO that was into the shady deals should have been exposed and should have been publicly made. Say, hey, look, you're not, what you're doing isn't kosher. It's not good stuff. It's not good business practices to be doing all these kinds of deals in the dark, right? So by making these things that he would have preferred keeping private very public, he of course runs off at the end of the movie. We don't really follow up what happened to him, but it can be assumed that police and the FBI and so forth probably got involved. But I can't guarantee that that's what actually happened. But so you see, in some cases privacy might be good. So what were the cases, like I said, with the David, you know, where we're kind of looking in as privacy as an element to hide, and to sort of say, to protect our own, human decency. You know what I mean? There's certain things that, what, yeah, I'd rather not have my body be seen by anybody and everybody, right? There's certain things that we understand as human beings that we want to keep private, that we want to keep to ourselves. I'm not going to go walk out unclothed in public, right? Especially here in Canada in the middle of winter, being naked is not it's not what you want to be doing. Okay, it's not a good idea. But in other cases, there's certain things where no, this should be very public, right? It should be out there, right? There's certain information where, what, this should be out there for everybody to see and to understand and to know what's going on. Now, again, guys, I'm not saying all of this, that what I'm saying is the right answer or the wrong answer. You guys have your own thoughts and your own ideas as to what should be considered as public information, what should be considered as private information. And of course, one of the other topics I will talk about in a later live is should people tell your business to other people, right? So if I know that Cubans, let's say, did something when he was 17, should I go and tell that to Lori? Or should I let Cubans tell that for himself, right? So that's another element of privacy, but that's going to be for another topic for a different day. So that's pretty much what I want to say about privacy and in the arts, right? So basically, it is a topic that is dealt with in the arts. Oftentimes, um, to yes, Cupid, we know what you did when you were 17. We all know. No, no, of course not. I have no idea what you did when you were 17, Cubans, but by all means, if you want to tell us, we're all ears. We're all ears. But yes, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Now, of course, especially in the video that I showed, of course, sometimes it can be very politicized and really, down with the government. They're all in our business. And, of course, there was a movie about Edward Snowden as well, to sort of, is he a hero? Is he a state enemy? Who knows? I'll let you guys decide for yourself, right? So, again, I'm not saying any of this because I think I have the right answer and you have to agree with me or else. Hopefully, you guys have your own opinion and share your opinion in the comment section or in the chat, right? Feel free to say whatever it is you want to say. I try not to censor people. If you're not saying anything really horrible, like you're using the N word or something like that, feel free to comment and definitely like and share and all that stuff, right, guys? So I hope you guys enjoyed this nice little short live, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. I will have another live tomorrow, and I will be continuing my talk about privacy later on in the week as well. So I hope to hear and see from you guys later on in this week. So thank you, Cubans Universal, for being here with me tonight. Thank you, Lori's Tech Time, for being here. Thank you, the Intellectual Soapbox, for being here. And of course, thank you to Lashes Journey for being here. You would, yes, I want to know what you did. Okay, we're all staying here. Cubans, what did you do when you were 17? Come on, tell us every last little detail. Don't skip from the day you turned 17 until the day you turned 18. No, have a good one, Cubans. Of course, I kid, but definitely, if ever you want to tell us your story, Cubans, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. But anyways, have a great night, guys. I miss you guys already. So don't cause any trouble I wouldn't cause. All right, guys. Try to be a little bit nice. A little bit. Not too much. Not too much. Just a little bit of kindness, guys, okay? All right, guys. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for my live that I'll have. And if I don't see you tomorrow, hope I see you guys during the week, either on one of my lives or one of your lives. So have a great night, guys. Ciao. Au revoir.